amazed myself because I'm gonna have to extend out this video portion because baby, I'm sharing and tagging and doing things, and I'm like, I need more time to let the people know because y'all don't understand. If you have been with me this week, baby, y'all already know it has been a time, or as they say, a time was had. Every single day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and boom, we're not slowing up for Thursday because I've got the doctor in the house and she is about to bring it like she always does. But let me just do the housekeeping. If you have not tuned in, or if you have tuned in, then share this with somebody that you know that needs some inspiration, that needs something or somebody to speak life into their situation, who is in the midst of becoming her, or has become her and is ready to become the next level of her. Whatever stage you're in, this is where we're at. And I am interviewing because this is the Becoming Her series. So I am interviewing the 25 authors of Her, Unshakable, Unbreakable, Unstoppable. And for every author, Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, we're going to be here for the next 5 weeks. You hear me? 5 weeks. And we're going to be talking and inspiring and encouraging and motivating and doing all those things that will help you to get to where you know God has designed you to be. So I'm not going to take it any further than that. I'm going to go ahead and bring on my guest because, baby, trust and believe, you're going to want to hear what she has to say. So let me welcome to the virtual stage, Dr. Nycorya Wilson.
Hey, everybody. How are y'all doing?
Great.
Hey.
How are you?
Doing well, doing well. It's been a day.
It's been a day. Listen, we were talking behind stage. You never know what your day is going to be like. And I think I saw first thing when I got up this morning, how, scrolling through social media and somebody had put it, I'm going to pull it up so I can just say exactly what it said. But it was fitting for it being Thursday. And it was fitting because, you always say thankful Thursday and all of that, right? Well, this one said, before I start my day, God, I just want to say thank you. That's
right.
it. That's all. Before I do anything, I just want to say thank you because you don't know who wish they could be here to say thank you. But
Right.
last night or early this morning was their last day. You don't know who's been through some things and thought it could have been their last day. But
Right.
God, as we said all week long, but God. And Nycorya, I just want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of what we did over the weekend, which was the Becoming Her experience in Gala. So
Yeah.
let me back it up because what made you decide that you wanted to even be part of this?
So I will say for me, I wanted to step outside of my comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
Because for me, I can be the person who's comfortable being in the background. But for this season that I'm in currently, I want to do something that's going to bring me more out of my comfort zone. Yeah, I can go to church and I can teach, I can preach, I can do all the things, but to speak on a different type of platform was me challenging myself.
Yeah.
It's called Becoming Her. So that's me, that's part of my becoming, stepping outside of my comfort zone and doing something that I've never done before. And I was excited to do it. When you asked, I said, absolutely, sign me up when we're doing it. So I was excited to do it.
And I love that about you because you're sure. You just was like, hey, let's do it. What we need to do, how I need to move, how give me the details and let's go. Because God has you in a season where your yes is elevating you time after time after time after time, from photo shoots to, magazines, interviews, for, being in the book, for speaking engagements. It's just, and I will talk about the other things that are coming up later. But even with this right here, God is like boom, boom, boom. Dr. Sparkle always says, um Amos, what is it? Amos 9:13. Suddenly, head swimming blessings.
Suddenly. Mm-hmm. Suddenly.
Suddenly,
Suddenly.
opportunities coming. Suddenly, before you can get ready to say thank you, God, for one, he got another one lined up. And
Yeah.
he has dropped you in the middle of your suddenly season.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
I definitely agree with that. And it's funny because I was thinking about Ecclesiastes. It says, for everything is a season. So for me, this is definitely my season. This is my coming out season. That's what I call it. I feel like in this particular season of my life that I'm going to do any and everything that I've ever wanted to do. It's not, nothing is going to stop me. It doesn't matter what it is. I'm just going to keep on going. I'm keep on going. And it's funny because I think about when you said, hey, well, how do you feel about writing for the magazine? I don't think I even hesitated. I don't even think I thought about it, but maybe 2 seconds. And I was like, okay, what I got to do.
And I love it because Nycorya and I connected, what, 2022, maybe
About
2023?
2022, 2023. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, somewhere around there. And it has just been absolutely amazing. I mean, she's written books. I asked her to be in the magazine, but it's just knowing what she brings to the table. And that is where, God is, connecting me with people who are like, let's go, let's do it, let's make it happen. And I love that we can do that. And as we do it, it's always elevating somebody else. It's always helping somebody else. You know what I'm saying? In the words that we say, the words that we write down, the connections and things that we're doing, the people that we bring along,
Right.
it's all for elevation, and the publishing company, is We Shine Media. So, I feel like if I shine, you shine, we shine together.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so
And
I
I like to
love,
say, I like that because I always say that Walmart and Target exist at the same time. They can carry the exact same items, but it's something that people like about Walmart and it's something that people like about Target. And it doesn't cancel the other out. So we can exist at the same time and we can rise up together. So I really like that.
yes. And you know what? I think for so many people, they always say women can't get along. You just aren't with the right women.
Exactly.
Because you can. You can get around women who want to see you win, who want to
Mhm.
support you and want to encourage you and want to put your name in places that maybe you never even thought about. They want to
Right.
tell somebody about you because you're just that bad of a female. And we need to start understanding that me telling somebody about you doesn't diminish who I am. It doesn't
Yeah.
dull my shine. It doesn't do anything with that. If anything, it makes it brighter, bigger, better.
Yes, absolutely. I definitely agree with that. I definitely agree with that. It's funny you said that. I was thinking about that before I even came on this broadcast. I'm thinking if you cannot handle my shine, put your sunglasses on. So I'm going to keep on getting brighter and brighter and brighter. Either you choose to deal with it or you don't.
Either you deal with it or you don't. And that's the power of self, of knowing self. But it's also the power of healing for real, because
Absolutely.
that is the underlying thing. When Dr. Sparkle and Natasha and I on the Empowered Morning Show, we are talking about healing for real. And it's stemmed from Crystal talking about the other side of ugly.
Hmm.
And she said, we're going to heal for real this time. Well, when you're healed and whole, or even in the process of healing, you start recognizing that there's something about you that's uniquely, wonderfully made, and you start shifting and seeing yourself as how God sees you. And when you're able to do that, you're not threatened by somebody else. Like Cynthia said, yes, suddenly. Doris said, yes, that is what it is. You need to be aligned.
Absolutely.
When you are aligned with God's view of you, then when you know that nobody has the finger prints that I have, then why am I intimidated by anybody else? Because they can't be me. Whether they imitate it, whether they try to duplicate it, it doesn't matter because there are burger places all over the world.
Exactly.
And somebody's gonna like McDonald's, somebody's gonna like Five
Mhm.
Guys, somebody's gonna like somebody else's gourmet burger shack. Whatever it is, that doesn't mean that other people can't pop up another shop tomorrow that has burgers because
Exactly.
somebody's gonna enjoy that too. Look at the
Absolutely.
gas stations, coffee shops, restaurants. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, Walmart and Target is something for everybody. You just got to know you well enough to know which one you resonate with.
Right. Which one is for you? I always say that we all have our audience that we
Mm-hmm.
are called to. We all have a specific sphere of influence. Mine is not like yours, and yours is not like mine. You may be able to help the person, the struggling mom, but I may be able to help the the college student. We
Mhm.
just have to figure out which lane we belong in.
Come on, which lane we belong in. And when we shine in the lane that we are in, when the next sister pulls up, like I say, and put her brights on and she's shining, we cover more territory. When you're
Absolutely.
on the road and you have people side by side and both of their brights are on, it gives you more territory that you can see where things are at and where to go and all of that. It illuminates more. So we got to
Absolutely.
stop trying to, be crabs in a barrel and scared that nobody else is going to shine brighter than you, or they're not going to do whatever, because everybody's shine is different.
Absolutely.
Shining doesn't mean that it's only one light bulb and that's all it is. It's only, because the moon and the sun both shine. They just shine
Absolutely.
different.
Exactly.
One rules the day, the other rules the night.
All
You got to
right.
know what that is. Then the stars in the sky do their own thing.
Yeah, that's right. I like that. I like that.
She said, honey, say that, Erica said, say that we are all have a remnant of people to help. And we do. And
We
when you
do.
understand that, you don't have to worry about it, because there's an abundance of things, of people, of connections, of
Right.
opportunities.
Yeah.
Sparker says there's so many, um, so many things that God has for us when we ask for them, promises. It's 7,000 promises with your name on it. And if that's
Absolutely.
the case, then you are never going to run short. You're going to
Absolutely.
always have something that God is going to do for you. So now let me
Absolutely.
back, because I want you to talk about what you did at the event when you talked about people coming from behind that mask.
So at the experience, Sparkle, that was for you.
Right.
At the experience,
Yes.
I talked about coming from behind the mask, and it stemmed from a book that I wrote that released in what December of 2024.
Yeah.
That was December 2024, called Uncovering What's Behind the Mask. And I was inspired to write that book because I realized that as women, we wear a lot of masks to
Right.
cover up the things that's going on in our lives. And I talked about how it's important that we take that mask off to show who it is that God created us to be, because God can only dwell in our authentic self.
Mhm.
That's it. That's what he wants us to be.
Yeah.
He wants us to be authentic. And then I really took my own mask off and shared that even after I wrote that book myself about uncovering what's behind the mask, I was still wearing a mask myself because I discovered it. All of
Mm.
2025, I still had a mask on. I was still hiding. I was still covering things up. And it wasn't until certain events occurred in my life that I was able to say, you know what? I'm taking it off and I'm hitting the ground running, and this is who I am, period. You either love me or you hate me, but this is who I am. That's it.
That's it. That's all. And there's so much power when you accept your authentic self.
It is.
Because when we talk about being unshakable and unbreakable and unstoppable, you can't get there when you're worried about what everybody else is going to say, what they're going to think, if they're going to love you or not. You've got to stand 10 toes down on believing in you first and foremost.
Yeah. Because nobody else is going to believe in you like you. You cannot, nobody can do you but you. That's it. That's it.
Period.
But
Yes.
I
And
wanted
come
to,
on, Ginger hair, you look unstoppable, don't she? Look amazing every single time, every single time. And that's the beauty, Nycorya, because when you talked about coming from behind the mask, the reality is, because as women, we wear so many hats that there's a variety of masks. It's not just one mask. You may put on one mask at work, but you may put another mask on at church. You may
we,
put one on at church, and there may be another one in the sister circle, because you don't want everybody knowing stuff is jacked up at home. We have masks that we switch on and out just like we do wigs or clothes or underwear or whatever. You have masks that you wear.
right.
Would you tell somebody right now who is in the process of trying to come from behind the mask, but they're overwhelmed and they are feeling like they want to hyperventilate because it's like, I don't know if I can let everybody see who I am. Or maybe I don't even know who I am without the mask.
Well, give yourself time. Give yourself time, because everything is a process. You don't have to do it all at once. It is a process. I did not wake up overnight and say, hey, this is who I am, love me or hate me. It's a process. I will say that's a part of becoming. Yet again, it is a process, and we all have to go through it. And I would say, if you're struggling on what it is that you really want to do, or wanting to take the mask off and things of that nature, sit, meditate, talk to God, and just say, hey, God, this is where I am. This is where I want to be, because he hears you when you talk to him. And that's what I had to do. I had to sit, talk to him, and get into a quiet place, get into my own personal quiet place, to where I could really hear what it was that he was telling me to do.
That's good. That's good. Sparkle, that process is the form of patience.
Absolutely.
And I think in this particular, in the world in general, we don't like patience. Patience is almost like a cuss word. You want everything to be microwave driven. You want everything right now. You want it to be like a genie in a bottle, and boom, whatever you want, you expect it to materialize right then, right now. But a lot of times we're so busy being busy that you don't even sit down, like you say, and get quiet so that you can hear God, hear what he's saying to you now.
That's it. That's it. And that's it. And it's funny, because I think about, when I talk about being quiet, I think about how I used to have a favorite scripture like years ago, but then as I got older, I had a different scripture, and it's be still and know that I am God. And it's in that stillness that we can actually hear him speak. That's it. When you're still, you can hear him speak. And sometimes you have to cut off. You have to cut off everything. You have to cut off the TV. You have to cut off the social media. You have to cut off the kids, the husband, the boyfriends, whoever it is, your family. You have to disconnect in order to reconnect with God.
Oh,
you have to disconnect in order to reconnect with him, because at the end of the day, he is our source.
Period. Somebody put that in the chat. You have to disconnect in order to reconnect with him, because the reality is God is the designer of us. You know, we are his. Yes, Paula said, I popped in at the right time. Amen. You have got to disconnect if you want more than where you are right now. God has the blueprint. He said, I know the plans I have for you in Jeremiah 29:11. He has the blueprint for you. So wouldn't you want to go to him and say, God, where am I right now? How am I off course? What do I need to do? Who should I be talking to? Where? Give me what I need in order for me to be able to show up, because it's already inside of me. I just need to connect to it. It's just like having a cell phone and you've got a charger, but you don't have an electric source. So if you have this source, you got the phone, you got the charger. All you need is something to plug into, and that something should be God.
That's it.
Thank you, Miss Doris, honey. Come on, y'all, and put it in the chat for me. Yes, I love it. I love it. I love it. That was really good. I want to go into what you wrote about in the book, your title, because I need people to understand what God has downloaded to you in this season is spot on, and it's good. Your title is multi-dimensional.
Mm-hmm.
Every layer has a story.
Mm-hmm.
You know how they talk about peeling back onions, right? You know, they say onions have layers.
Mm-hmm.
Let's break that down. When you talk about multi-dimensional, and I'm talking about, my girl didn't just write down multi-dimensional, you know, like we just regularly see it spelled, baby. She did the phonetic meaning of that. She broke it down for real, for real. I want you to give the people a taste, because you know people are going to say they want to read the book and may get it, may not, but I need them to hear your heart with what you wrote in those pages.
Absolutely. So first, I want to kind of start off how it came about. I was having a conversation with somebody maybe a few months ago, really right when the process started, when I was trying to figure out what my chapter was going to be. And honestly, the title of my chapter was going to be something else. And I was having a conversation with somebody, and I was thanking them for loving every part of me. I said, I'm appreciative that I can be me and you still love every single part of me. I said, you love the strong part of me. You love the vulnerable part of me because you've seen me break down and cry. You love the part of me that can pray down heaven. You love the mother side of me. You love every single side of me. And I said, oh my gosh, I'm multidimensional. And it came to me in that moment. That was God. I don't even use that word, first of all. That was God. When I get something like that, that was God. So that whole entire week, I kept singing that word randomly. And I kept hearing the word multidimensional. And I was like, oh my goodness. And I even started writing the other chapter with the other title.
Wow.
God said, no, your title has to be multidimensional. I said, okay, I'm not going to have it spelled the normal way. I want to really break this thing down. And so I started writing. And I thought about multi means more than one. I was like, okay, all right, God, I hear you. So I started writing. Multi means the mind, more than one thing. I can be more than one thing at one time. That's what that meant to me. Multi, more than one. I can be leading. I can be grieving. I can be strong and struggling at the same time. And God loves me through every single one of those things. I can serve. I can show up. I can be a mom. I can be a boss. I can be the minister. I can be all these things at the same time. And God still loves me. I can be the fun side. I can be goofy. I can do all these different things at the same time. So that's how it came about. And that's what multi meant to me. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is crazy. And then I started thinking about multi in my mind. So during the season last year, I had so many different things that was going on in my mind at the same time. And the enemy threatened my mind. He wanted to take over my mind. And I was like, no, absolutely not. So that's kind of how it started. More than one thing. I was going through multiple things in my mind at the same time. I looked as if I was strong, like I had it going on. I still showed up with my wigs on because I like to change them out. You just don't know how I'm coming, so be prepared.
That part. Look, we just say from one day to the next, not week to week, or month to month.
I mean, I had a ponytail this morning and I got a wig on this evening. But with all that said, so I had multiple things going on in my mind at the same time. I appeared to be strong on the outside, but on the inside, I was crumbling, literally crumbling on the inside. And I think I shared at the experience how last year was a tough year for me. I went through a divorce after being with my past significant other for 17 years. I went through a divorce. Not only was I going through a divorce, I ended up being sick. I found out I had blood clots. Not one blood clot, but 3 blood clots. 2 in my leg and 1 in my arm. I was on blood thinners. Not only did that occur, I started having to be tested for lupus. And, you might have sarcoidosis as well. So I'm being tested for lupus, sarcoidosis, taking Eliquis for blood clots, and going through a divorce at the same time. Okay, my mind was going through last year. So that's where the multi came in, right? So I'm hoping that this is helping somebody. I hope it's helping somebody.
For sure.
But I had to, at that moment, if you think about what the scripture says, you have to be able to bring your thoughts under captivity. So at that time, I said, okay, devil, you are not going to have my mind. And I want you to know that she's not on here tonight, but I have another friend, and y'all seen her on other podcasts that I've been on before. Her name is Tiffany. Now, keep in mind, Erica, that's my girl. She going to pray down heaven with me. But I'm going to tell you what, when Tiffany prays, Tiffany wasn't letting it go down like that, okay? So she made sure that we got those thoughts together and that mind was going on, right? So we're going to keep on going. So we get to the D, D-I, D-I, D. That was the heart. That meant that I had faith and feeling at the same time. Just because I had faith didn't mean I didn't have feelings. People believe because you are a woman of faith, that if you are a man of faith, that we're going to say if you are a person of faith, that you're not supposed to have feelings. It does not diminish your feelings because you are a person of faith. Just because I am a minister, just because I have a doctor or a PhD behind my name does not negate the fact that I also have feelings, that I'm human and a ball of flesh. Because at the end of the day, we're nothing but a ball of flesh, right? So that's where the D came in. That's where the DI came in. So we have multi and we have the DI, right? The heart, the heart. My heart, it was all over the place. All over the place. So my mind was jacked up, my heart was jacked up, but I'm like, oh my goodness, what is happening here? But what does the Bible say? The Lord is close to the brokenhearted, and he will bind up every one of our wounds. So I had to depend on him during that particular season, because without him, I wouldn't have made it through. So multi die, because I don't say did, I say die, multi-die. So we go to men, which is the season where the clarity started to come in. That was the season of clarity. That was when the chaos and the clarity, something's got to give, right? Something had to give in that moment. I needed clarity in that moment. So, okay, God, I'm going to need you. It's just like the pruning process. It was the pruning process. It was the going through fire process. I had to burn off all of the things, right? So that was the moment. It was one particular moment, one particular conversation that said, you know what? That's it. That's enough. That's it. Sis, get it together. Literally, sis, get it together. Me and God talk like that. You know, you have to have your own language with God, right? You have to say, like, get that together. Like, get that together. So at that moment, I said, you know what? I have to stop just surviving and I have to start living again. I need to come out of just survival mode and I need to start living. So that is where we at, multi-die men. So that was that was the clarity moment. That was the clarity moment, right? So then we get to the SHEN, but keep in mind I have a backwards upside down E in my title.
Right.
And so that's authority. So for me, that's when the authority came in. I'm like, you know what, girl, you strong. You got this. You got this. You can make it. You've been there before. I mean, come on. I was a teenage mom. I had, by the age of 22, I had 3 children and unmarried. Okay. So if I did it then by myself, I had to remember that I can do this thing again. And not only can I do it again, I can do it better than I did it before. Because my faith and my strength is on another level now. Where are you being? Where you been?
Where have you been?
Yeah. So strong. I had to realize that I was strong, that I was powerful, and that my favorite verse is, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Yes. Whether I have a little or I have a lot, I know that he is going to give me strength. And that I can, that's power. That's a power word right there. I can. That means you know that you know that you know, right? And not that I'm going to get the strength. He's going to give me the strength. So that's what the shin came from. That's that authority. That's what you hear me speak with now. I've not always spoken with authority because I didn't know who I am. But now that I know who I am, there's nothing that anybody can do to tell me anything differently. Period.
Point blank, period.
Period. Nothing else after that. And then we have the AL. That is alignment, aligned living, being aligned with God, being aligned in my life in every single aspect of my life. Period. That's it. It's about alignment. It's about surrender. that is multidimensional. That's what it means to me. That's how it came about. I had to break it down little by little by little. And I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. So yeah, I have layers. There's layers to me. It makes me think about a blooming onion. Like you said, an onion. You know how it's like this when it comes to you,
Right,
because it
right.
has different layers to it. And there's nothing wrong with having all these different layers. There's nothing wrong with it. And I always think about, people want to put you in a box. People, girl, what are you doing now? Don't worry about what I'm doing. Either you're going to get on board with me or you're going to get left behind. How many times are you going to go to school? Don't worry about how many times I'm going to go to school. When you going to catch up? Period. When are you catching up? I went back to school. Yes, I already have a doctorate degree, but guess what? On Monday, I get my PhD. Who's going to what? Either you're going to catch up, you got to catch up. Either you get on board or you're going to get left behind. Period. So that's multi-dimensional.
Multi-dimensional. Let me say this, because you are always, and Erica said, that's what I always hear. You either gonna come on or you're gonna get left behind. Because the reality is, for me, Nycorya, I know that I talk fast, so sometimes people act like they don't really hear what I'm saying. But my thing is, if you want to know what I said, you got to put your brain on the speed of where I'm at so that you can catch up with what I'm saying. Otherwise, you're going to miss it. Because I'm not really one that likes to repeat myself.
Right.
It has to be a part of you inside your sha-na-na that says, I'm going to be who I'm supposed to be, and I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do, whether you support me or you don't, whether you're with me or you're not, whether you can handle it or you can't. And once you get that part and know that if God be for me, who can be against
me?
That is the becoming her. That is the being unshakable. That is being unbreakable. That is being unstoppable. Because you have finally came into agreement with who you know you are and who God says you are. And they have collided to where now you understand that God didn't create me one-dimensional. I'm multi-dimensional. I have layers. I have pieces of me that you may never understand. You may only be able to comprehend one side, but don't think that that's just it, because there's so much more to me than just that. Right. And I love that you were able to come out of that even from a divorce. Because let's be real, most time when people get married, Cynthia and I, we talked about that the other day in her statement. Marriage will have you in a position where sometimes you even forget who you are. Sometimes you don't even recognize the person you look at in the mirror today is not the woman that got married, because you've changed, you've grown, you've evolved. But somewhere along that, for some women, that's great, because they are constantly taking men and they're reinventing and doing things and they're living and thriving in life. For other women, they lose themselves. And it's a struggle to go back and find out who they are.
It is. I will say that during marriage, I don't think that I was fully me within my marriage. Mm-hmm. I don't feel like I was fully who Nycorya is until now. I feel like there were parts of me that I hid even in my marriage. I probably hid parts of myself to him. You know what I mean? Hey, yes. It is what it is. I probably hid parts of myself when it came to him. It doesn't make me a bad person. It just meant that maybe I wasn't where I needed to be yet. I will never say that I'm a perfect person, that I'm unflawed, because I got plenty of flaws just like everybody else. But the difference is I can accept my flaws, see where they are, and keep it pushing and grow from them. So that's what I got even from divorce. I had to take a look at myself. And when you can look at self, that's something deep right there, because everybody can't look at themselves and see their flaws.
They cannot.
I can look at myself in the mirror and say, Nycorya, you need to get that together, because maybe you should have did that a little differently. You know what I mean? Everybody can't do that.
Everybody
can't. And that's part of what being multidimensional.
It is. And let me say this, because Cynthia even mentioned the other day, not only can people not take accountability and speak to themselves, sometimes you can't even look at yourself in the mirror. much less speak and encourage yourself.
Right.
And the fact that you have gotten to a point where you say, I am going to be who I'm supposed to be no matter what.
Right.
And mean that and stand 10 toes down, whether somebody, because let's keep it real. 17 years with somebody, people got things to say.
Oh
And
yeah.
people got things to say whether you stayed or whether you left. You can't please everybody. And that's what we have to really understand. You cannot please everybody, but your job is not to please everybody. Your job is to give God the glory. And as long as he's happy, that's really all that matters.
Yeah, that's it. That's what it's all about at the end of the day. That's Oh, hey, Sister Wanda. I see you out there. But yeah, so that is multi-dimensional. And it was really, really funny how it came about. I never in a million years would think, I'm just like, this is wild. Like, even down to the spelling. Like, when God gives me a vision, he gives it to me exactly the way that it's supposed to be. And that's exactly what happened with multidimensional. So I hope, honestly, that somebody reads it and they really get a lot out of it. They get a lot from it. So, yeah.
Oh, for sure. And when I tell you that when I saw it, I was like, this is it. Because sometimes you have to shake things up and give people a different perspective from what
Mhm.
they're accustomed to seeing. A lot of times in life, we just go with the flow because we just feel like that's how it's supposed to be. But every now and then, God brings somebody who shakes up what they call them disruptors. You disrupt
Disrupted. That's
the
it.
atmosphere
That's
and you
it.
shift
Disrupted.
how people think and how they see things because God is bringing up a standard of women where we're becoming her. And that is on a different level. That means that everything can't be done the way that it used to be. It has to be something different about you, but you have to know who you are in order to step into that. So, for somebody who is struggling right now with whether they're coming out of a divorce, coming out of a marriage, losing a job, maybe lost their home or their vehicle, maybe not having a good relationship with their children or their parents. What can you say to them about prioritizing themselves?
So I can only talk about me, and I hope that as I'm talking about myself, that it's going to help them. What I
Mm-hmm.
did was I started taking time for myself. I literally started taking time for myself. I'm gonna tell y'all something. You're gonna think it's funny. You're probably not even gonna believe me. I've never been a nail girl. I've never been the type of person to wear nails, to do any of those things. But you know what? I started doing little things. I
Mm-hmm.
started taking time, going get my nails done, going to get a pedicure, going to get facials, doing all the things. Just started taking time for Nycorya. And then I had to realize in that moment of taking time for myself, you also give yourself time to grieve. If you're going through things with give yourself time to grieve. Now,
Yeah.
everybody's grieving process is not like the next person's grieving
Right.
process. My
Right.
grieving process may go through in a month or two. Yours may take a couple of years, but give yourself time to grieve. And don't let anybody tell you how much time that you need to take, because that's between you and that's between God. Only you know how much time you need, right?
Uh-huh.
And then when it comes to other, I would say surround yourself with a good group of people.
Yeah.
Don't surround yourself with people that wants to have a pity party with you. Surround yourself with people who is going to help lift you up, because that's
Yeah.
exactly what you need. Is somebody who's going to help to lift you up, to encourage you, to help bring you out of what you're going in. I can remember Erica. I was going through it. I told y'all I was going through it last year, and she came to me one day. Whenever I had my aha moment, she came to me one day and she said, "You know what? I got my sister back." She said, "Now you sound like my sister.
Mm.
Now you sound like my sister." And you're right, Sparkle. Grief is not just death, and people get that messed up all the time. You grieve relationships. You grieve the loss of a job.
Yes.
You grieve
Yes.
many different things within life, and it's not just death. But yeah, so I remember her telling me in that moment, I finally got my sister back. Now you sound like Nycorya. And ever since she said that, I've been going full speed ahead.
I love it. But you know what? That's the power of having the right people around you. because the right people aren't going to just let you just fall out and fall apart and not bring yourself, not when they know who you are, not when they know what you're capable of. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't be around me and I'm not going to push you to be the best version of yourself. Just
Right.
not, that's just not going to happen. Because if I'm elevating, I need you to come on and we're going to run together and do
Exactly.
what we do. That's why
Mm-hmm.
I love the group with me, you, Sparkle, and S.
That's
Marie
right.
putting on this event, this experience, Sparkle, putting this on this weekend because it gave us an opportunity to really step out and just make sure that we threw the net wide, because we had a lot of sisters. It's 25 of us in this book,
Right. Right.
26 including me, and opening it up so that everybody can look. And it's like looking at a mirror. When I see you, you know you shining. When I see somebody else, you know they smiling, they shining. And we're all feeling comfortable and confident. And we're all also saying, you know what, my sister's doing her thing. Well, you know what, I'm gonna do my thing too. You know,
Mm-hmm.
what's that movie? Is it, don't put baby in the corner? No, baby don't put
Nobody
baby in the
puts
corner.
baby in the corner.
Nobody puts baby in the
Nobody.
corner, honey. Listen, yes, Cheryl said, I'm loving this because it's something inside of you and you got to recognize it, but you also need people who will look at you and say, you off. This is not you.
Yeah, that's not you.
This is not what we do. We don't do that.
I'm gonna tell you something that I really loved about the experience was that we've been in this group. We've been in this messenger group for a while now on Facebook, and I thought it was beautiful to see all of the women who did come. And it was like we've been seeing their pictures, but like to see your sister in person was like, oh my God. I mean, I just saw Hennessy come in and I was like, Hennessy, and she
Right.
turned around. It was like you could put the face with it, and it was just beautiful because everybody just embraced each other. And it was just like, oh my God, you look so beautiful. And it was just a good experience. It was just a wonderful experience.
It was. And you know what I really love is that everybody who came there got what they needed to level up.
They
You
did.
know how sometimes you go places and you're just like, "Oh, good," and then you go back to ho hum doing what you were doing. Not
Mm-hmm.
this time. I don't think any one of the ladies that have been a part of this have said, okay, I'm done, I've arrived and it's over. No, I think it made us hungrier to do
Right.
more, to go
Right.
further, to
Mm-hmm.
have whatever it is God has for us, because God didn't say you got to just sit there and be still and just get one piece of the puzzle.
That's
It's
it. There's
multiple
more.
pieces, just like
There's,
multidimensional.
yeah, there is more. Eyes have not seen and ears have not heard.
Have
Period.
not. Has
Period.
been entered into the heart of man, baby.
Yeah.
What we are about to bust out and do. And that's what I love about it. Let me do this because I did it for everybody else, and we didn't get into where we almost, at the end of time. But I wanted them to hear your bio. So Dr. Nycorya S. Wilson is a native of Gallatin, Tennessee, with over 2 decades of experience in healthcare and ministry. Educated in the Sumner County school system, she holds a doctorate in ministry from Emmanuel Bible College, a master's degree in ministry, and a Bachelor of Science in Biblical Studies. She is currently pursuing her PhD, which that's already
Graduate next Monday.
graduating next Monday, baby. Yes. That's going to expand her commitment to leadership and transformative impact. Dr. Wilson is a board certified mental health coach, a certified life coach, a licensed minister, an author, and a reinvention strategist dedicated to helping women reclaim their identity, restore their voice, and live unapologetically authentic lives. That's so powerful. I'm gonna re-say it again because I want y'all to understand a reinvention strategist dedicated to helping women reclaim their identity. Talk about that. What does it mean to reclaim their identity?
Oh my goodness. I would just say being who God created you to be, not who the world says that you should be. None of that. Don't be who the world says that you should be, because the world will do what? The world will put a period where God says there should be a comma, because you can be multiple things. So I want to empower women. I want to help women understand that they do not have to be afraid to be exactly who God wanted them to be in the beginning. God said that we are fearfully and wonderfully made.
Yes.
God is calling women to come to the forefront for what? For such a time as this. That's what he said. That's what he wants. And that's what I want women to understand. And if I have to sit down one-on-one with somebody and say, look here, sis, what do I need to do in order to help you get where you need to be?
Yes.
That's it.
That's it. Now, part two of that was helping women not only reclaim their identity, but to restore their voice. Or why women lose their voices as they maneuver through life. What's
They
that
lose
about?
their voices because they get, for one, let's talk about the mother. I've been a mother since I was 18. For 18 years, since I was 18 years old, somebody's been calling me mama. So what happens? You think that you're only the mom, and your only thing in life, your only goal in life is to do what? To care and watch after your children.
Right.
And then some people get married at a young age. So not only do you have the children to care for, you have your spouse to care for. So your identity is what? You are a wife and your mother. So then you lose who you are. You lose the things that you truly have desired to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
So at some point in your life, you're like, man, you put yourself on the back burner and you forget who you are, who it is. You forget your dreams. You forget the things that you wanted to do, and you just push them to the side, and you think, man, I got too old to do this. Nobody's gonna want to listen to me because I'm in my 60s, I'm in my 70s, I'm in my
Mm-hmm.
40s, 50s, whatever it is. And then one day you sit down and you look in the mirror and you're like, oh my God, I never did any of the things that I wanted to do.
Right. Right.
You
That
you
part.
you lose it. You lose yourself. And for me, one day I woke up and realized, man, I have not done half of the things that I wanted to do. And I always think, I tell anybody, I think I shared this with somebody, a younger person not too long ago. I always say that I should have been a statistic.
Mm-hmm.
I was a single mom at the age of 18.
Mm-hmm.
At the age of 21, I had my next child. By the age of 22, I had 3 children.
Mm-hmm.
I had a high school education for sure. But what the statistics say, that if you have children at a young age, that you're going to end up on welfare, that you're not going to
Right.
amount to anything else, that you're always going to live off of the system. But I was determined not to be a statistic. It doesn't matter how old you are when you get there, as long as you get there, right?
Yes.
And what changes the narrative is I'm not doing it by myself. I'm doing it with God, because at the end of the day, He is my foundation. He is the chief cornerstone, and I could not have done any of it without Him. So that's what I tell anybody. If I can do it after everything that I have been through and everything that I have endured, then you can do it too.
I love that because the reality is when you get in your mind that God can do it for you, He can do it for me too. Get you a me too moment and say, I looked over here and saw that, and if He got you that job, He can get one for me too. If He got
Absolutely.
you whatever this is, then He can do it for me too. If He can heal you from your sickness, oh, He can heal me
He can
too.
do it for me too.
Get you and me too in your spirit because the power of what God has for all of us is there. He's deposited something inside of you that if you are not where you want to be, then you need to get on your knees and awaken right
Right.
now. You need to wake up
Wake
what's
up.
inside of you and stop playing with it. We got to stop playing small. We got to stop diminishing our worth. We got to stop being scared to look at ourselves in the mirror and say, baby, when I tell you I'm proud of you and I'm rolling with you everywhere you go because God
Right.
is with us and we stand our ground.
Look, something just dropped right on in that spirit
Come
just
on
at that
with it.
very moment. Because what happened is, just look at it this way. If I see FedEx down the street delivering your packages, and I know that they delivering the packages next door, then I know that my packages is on the way. So you better get you with somebody else who's going somewhere. Because if I got mine, then know that yours is on the way if you're going to roll with me.
Come on. You know how they say a lot of times people are guilty by association? Be guilty by associating with God. And when you associate with God, if He is the creator of all things, then you already know that you can create just by being associated, because great is He
Associate
that
with
is
him.
in you than
That's
he that
it.
is in the world. So when you get that revelation, then yes, it's on the way, Christina.
Yeah.
If Nycorya got hers, you don't think God got yours? Why would He give it to her and not give it to you? He loves you just like Sparkle says, I'm God's favorite daughter. Baby, every one of us should say, I'm God's favorite daughter.
And
And
is
believe
sparkling.
it. And believe it to the fullest. Because you may say you his, and I'm gonna say I am his too. And we all
That's
and
it.
all of us gonna be like we his favorite. Because guess what?
Her
He
favorite.
has the ability to make sure we all feel good about who we are at the same doggone time.
Hey, Tiffany, I see you, sis. I talked about you earlier.
I can't really say, Tiffany, we've already heard about you praying things down and saying what we're not gonna do is this. And get it together. I love it. I love it. I love it. Let me tell y'all that it is the confidence that you have now that you're walking in. It's the authority that you have that you're walking in. It is the knowing that 3 kids at 22 are not. I'm not going to be a statistic. I am going to have more, be more, do more, and not settling for anything less than that. And it's not an age limit on that. You know how some people say, oh, well, I done live my best life. My best days are behind me. The devil is a lie. Who
The
told you
devil
that?
is a lie.
Who told you that your best days are behind you just because you feel like you have more years behind you than you have in front of you? Your next 5, 10, 12, 6, 3, 2, 1 year can blow out every other year that you ever experienced up until this point. It's up to you.
That's right. That's right. I would say that I had my aha moment after the age of 40. I would say after the age of 40, I love you too, Tiffany. After the age of 40, it was like I finally stopped running from God. I finally said yes to God. I finally said, you know what? I don't know what I'm about to do with this ministry thing, and I don't know where I'm going with it, but whatever it is, I'm going to go. And like I said in the beginning, I was the girl who was quiet in the corner, would never say anything. Never in my life would I imagine that I would be in anybody's pulpit, on anybody's stage, and on anybody's podcast, because I honestly don't like talking to people. Seriously. And this is only God. Like, only God can allow you to do something like this. Yes. Like, Nycorya takes no credit. And I will say that until the day that I die. Nycorya takes no credit. This is only by the grace of God. Only because of Him that I'm able to do any or half of the things that I do right now. I will never take the credit for it.
Oh, that's so powerful. I love this comment that Sparkle put up. She said, and your children will never be statistics either because you broke that curse.
I broke it, baby.
Smashed it where it's never going to come back. Smashed it.
Yes.
Literally. I love the conversation. I love where you are because it's inspirational to women who, because the reality is for people who have been unmarried and had kids, people feel like that's like, where you done messed up now. Mm-hmm. But did you? Mm-mm. Did you really mess up?
Mm-mm. I would say, sometimes it's just like the children of Israel. You know how God took them around the long way. They couldn't go the short way because they wouldn't have learned anything. But sometimes God has to take us on detours through life. And I often say, don't despise your detour because there's something to learn along the journey. You might not have got there when you thought you were supposed to get there, but as long as you get there, that's all that matters. And you take each thing as a learning experience. You take each thing as a learning experience. Yes, you had your heart broke. It taught you something. Mm-hmm. Yes, you had children early. You had to do it alone. But guess what? It taught you something. It gave you strength that you didn't even know that you had.
so powerful. And I'm going to give Leanne's comment. She said, learning that God created me to be just the way I am, and He loves me in spite of my flaws. That is such a blessing that I learned just this weekend. I allow so many opinions to sink into me, but hearing the confidence in all of you shows me that I can be me and still be loved and good enough. What would you say to
Absolutely.
me?
You are enough. I want you to look at yourself right now and say, I am enough. You are enough. That's that period. That's it. You are enough. And once you know that you are enough, nobody can stop you.
Nobody. Now, we're about to wrap it up, y'all. Honey, when I tell y'all power is in the place right now, Nycorya, I'm going to give you solo stage to say whatever it is you want to wrap this up with to the people who are listening.
Okay. So I hope you all have enjoyed this conversation on tonight. I have definitely enjoyed it. But what would I say to the women who have joined me on tonight? Don't be afraid to be multidimensional. Don't be afraid of your layers. Don't despise the layers that you have. And it is okay. It is okay to have layers. It is okay to struggle and also be strong. It's also okay to have faith and still deal with your emotional feelings. It is okay. Those things are okay. It is okay not to be okay. Give yourself space to mess up because we're always going to mess up. None of us are going to be perfect, period. I always say that we are nothing but a flawed ball of flesh. We are all a flawed ball of flesh. So give yourself grace. Give yourself grace. That's it. Give yourself grace. Give yourself grace. Give yourself room to grow. Give yourself time. It's a process. We don't get there overnight. I didn't get here last night. I didn't get here yesterday. I didn't even get here last week or the year before that or the year before that. It took time. Y'all see this side of me. Y'all see my highlight reel. You see the highlight reel, but you don't know what it took for me to get here. So give yourself time in order to get where God is trying to take you. I hope you all enjoyed tonight. I enjoyed talking to y'all. And look, and let me give a shameless plug because I do have a podcast coming.
I was getting ready to tell you, go on, tell the people what's coming up.
So me and my daughter and I, Marsha, we are starting a podcast. It is called Two Generations, One Mic, where we give the tea, the truth, and two generational perspectives. So it is going to be awesome. Cannot wait. It's going to be a good time. My daughter and myself, we have a lot of fun. We crack up, we laugh, we do all the things. So our first couple of episodes, just to give you a tidbit, it's going to be dating then versus dating now. It's going to be one. We're going to talk about the chat lines. Y'all go ahead and laugh because you remember back in our day we had chat lines, but now they slide in DMs. So so it's going to be funny. Another episode we'll be talking about, is it a red flag or is it insecurity? So stay tuned. It's coming.
It's coming. And I'm telling y'all, it's only going to get better and better. Every single time you think it's good, it just keeps getting better. And that's how you should have in your mind about your life every day. I talked to a man the other day and I said, how are you? He said, all of my days are good days. Some days are just better than others. I said, you better say that, Mr. Henry. That is the truth. You should live your life like every day is a good day. Some days just may be better than others, but I don't have bad days. I just don't. I refuse to not have anything but great days. So y'all be ready to tune in because, honey, Dr. Nycorya has put us on notice, baby, to get ready. These interviews have been absolutely amazing. Tomorrow night, tune back in for day interview 5. And we have none other than Chantel Shannon House coming in, wrapping up and closing out the weekend, baby. So make sure y'all get back in and tune in. Invite somebody who you know needs to hear encouragement and inspiration and women who speak positively to each other and about each other. Catch these vibes, baby, because we're becoming her and we are not slowing down for anything or anybody because the whole thing is unshakable, unbreakable, and unstoppable. Period. All right, y'all. Nycorya, it has been a blast as always. Thank you so much,
Absolutely.
Mia. Y'all have a good one.
Good night, everybody.